times, didn't know where I was, and I told her, well, I didn't know anything about it. And during the pregnancies with our children, she started getting red triangular marks on her abdomen, and she said one time that she was lying in bed at night and saw this thing that looked like a square piece of steel about maybe 2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet and about an inch thick on edge, going down her body from head to toe. And she said it had a bunch of like plasma discharges and colors coming out of it, and she thought it was quite pretty, but then started getting scared and tried to wake me up. And the second I started waking up, it turned into a red beam of light and shot out the window. Then they had the implant incident where when right after she had our daughter, she was staying over at her mom's house, and I decided to go to the house and take care of the place, and got tired and decided just to stay there. And I went out in the backyard and saw these 2 huge raccoons, and raccoons are often reported before abductions, and these were gigantic. I didn't know raccoons got that big. One of them was like 70 pounds, and they were trying to eat our avocados in the avocado tree, and those are huge avocados, by the way, and it turned out that they were probably really big because UFOs were constantly hovering over that tree during coming to pick us up. Travis Walton reported that the trees in the area of his abduction grew like 4 or 5 times faster, and apparently it's true that UFO radiations cause plant life to grow much faster than normal.
That's what's going on at my house.
Could be.
Yeah. Wow.
And it certainly works with pine trees and avocado trees. We know that for sure. And anyway, I digress. But I fed the animals some cat food so that they would not eat the avocados, and then went to bed and woke up the next morning with a pain in the side of my head and a pain in my toe, like a weird stinging pain in my left second toe. And I just knew that they'd been there in the middle of the night. I don't remember anything except that they'd been there in the middle of the night, and then I had 2 more implants. And
how old were you when that happened?
I was
this when you're older.
That was in 2008, February 28th, 2008. So I was 48 years old.
Any idea why they're doing it at 48? Any theories?
They weren't sure they were going to do it they wanted to do it when I got regressed over it. I remember they picked me up, and then when I was on board the craft, they waited for orders for about a half an hour before they proceeded with the operation. So they knew that enough weird stuff had happened where I'd start an investigation if something really strange happened like that. So I guess they wanted to make sure that that's what they wanted, and I think they wanted me to get the device and then have it taken out. I think it was a synchronicity that way. And I contacted Dr. Leir soon after that happened, and then found out for sure that this was going on. So that must have been what they wanted.
Wow.
And,
now, I was reading that you're part of a breeding program. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Say again?
They used you as a breeder. Was that you? You're talking about, or somebody else in that article? That you were a breeder?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've collected reproductive cells from me, and from most, if not all, abductees and were experiencers. And I have reason to believe I've got some hybrid children. Somebody else that was abducted the same night I was at one point said that they saw me with 2 hybrid children. I personally didn't remember that, but I think that was very interesting. This is a person that remembers a lot about her abductions, and you'd know who I was talking about if I mentioned her name, but she didn't want her name being used. But
okay.
And
well, that's
yeah,
happened.
so.
People have seen each other on board ship, and then they talk about it later. It's like, oh, I remember you were on board ship.
When I started going to conferences and learning more about this and getting more comfortable with the idea, for what it's worth, I've had like 12 different people say that they've seen me up there. It kind of freaked me out, but I guess it makes sense, and we're all kind of an exclusive club.
Yeah, I know. I've seen some people that I know.
Exclusive club.
We're in this exclusive
I like that.
club.
What I call Class 2 abductees. I don't think there's that many of us. I mean, people that have been implanted, trained, and used as part of the alien agenda. There's a lot more Class 1 abductees that are just used to take samples from and treat as lab rats. And we're, in my opinion, people that are actually part of the agenda, and that's why we get used to it after a while, because they have us working for them.
Okay, that's what was his name? So you think that you're working for them?
Yeah, that's what I remember. I remember installing equipment and working on artificial wombs, or whatever you want to call them, that they use to grow other greys and use for part of the incubation of hybrids. And they have thousands of those on board a lot of the motherships. And I remember keeping people from escaping and calming people down and helping them with surgical procedures, stuff like that.
My goodness. We haven't scared people there. We'll be in fear of.
No.
Wow, well, that's a whole other level of existence.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we all have a secret life that even we don't know everything about, or not that much about, and it's very frustrating at times to not know exactly what's happening. But it, like I said, it helped me to know that the bare bones of what I was doing, at least. Before, I just knew that something strange was going on, and I knew darn well that it was real, but I didn't know what it was and couldn't figure it out and couldn't remember what it was, and it was right on the tip of my tongue, what happened, but I just couldn't recall it. And it's extremely frustrating and very very anxiety producing, I should say.
Well, there could be various levels of intelligence, just like we have the class system, because in my studies, in my research, and in my firsthand experiences, is we do still have a class system off planet. So, we've been talking about all of us and the you when you close your eyes and finding your inner soul, and each individual is an individual. But what do we all have in common? And the topic for tonight, folks, is nanotechnology. We're speaking with Steve Colbern at TGMRCT Radio, Colbern, B-E-R-N, and he is an ET experiencer. He apparently is an abductee as well, so we need to maybe reclassify you. Would you consider yourself, well, we want to talk about nanotechnology. I hope you have the definition pulled up there, Steve, but also I've got you as ET experiencer, so maybe I should have put abductee. Can you explain the difference?
I consider myself an experiencer / contactee at this point, but I think I started out as an abductee. I don't think I appreciated it too much when I was a kid, and they seem to treat adults better than they treat children. They do a lot of really painful medical stuff to people when they're younger, and that's all done by the time you're an adult, so they don't need to do it anymore. Yeah, the nanotechnology is very... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to add, TJ, I think that's a spurious dichotomy sometimes when you think of in terms of the abductor, experiencer, abductee, that someone who's an experiencer has had probably all the above, and that we really, just call them experiencers at a certain point, because
it's a
put them
continuum.
into different categories is too limiting,
And starting in 2019,
hello?
Go ahead.
What?
Janet, do you remember anything like that about working for the aliens or doing anything for them or during these experiences?
Well, I go on board, and they have these. Well, I go to other planets. I go on board. I'm not even sure where I am half the time. It seems like sometimes I'm on other planets and but they could be artificial environments inside of a ship. I don't really know. But I am, like, right now in the ambassador mode since I've relaxed about it. So now I go to these huge meetings. I've been to one with over 100,000 individual species, and they made sure I knew that there's 100,000 beings here, and there's no two alike. There's only one representative of each species. So I was reporting, like, the State of the Union address, what it's like to be a, 21st century human female living on Earth, and I asked for intervention. I thought it was our current system, level 0, the civilization was too cruel, and that we had paid our dues as a species, and we needed some intervention and up-leveling. And, I've tried to connect. I wrote it in a diary somewhere. I should go look at it. But then there was this information that came forth about the Sphere Being Alliance, which I'm still trying to see, is that real? And it's Corey Good stuff. I haven't come to any kind of conclusion. I don't have enough hours in the day to do the type of investigation I'd like to. But I think I am a multidimensional being having simultaneously experiences on many levels. I guess it's a new categorizing of split personalities, but I apparently have, different existences on different planets. Like sometimes I'll be a water being in the ocean, and I come back here to this life, and I access it when I'm sleeping, and I go, wow, I just spent all night, in the ocean, and this person, Janet, I'm terrified of going in the ocean with that person, was, flying through the air, and I identify it as self, but this makes us think, what is self and what is apparent other, Am I accessing information of other people and it feels like it's me? I can't really categorize things, but I have other jobs. I go to another planet. I have an office. It access the building. The building is built into the environment. Like there's vegetation, trees in the building. They seem to merge into one, and there's an outside elevator, and I know where my office is. I know where my apartment is. It's just like this planet. I go, what the heck's going on? But, the jury's still out. I have no idea. I can't prove anything.
It's interesting that the ocean used to scare me too. I actually took up diving to get over my fear of it. But that's interesting. I wonder if that's a general experiencer thing.
Yeah. Now, and then I fly. I don't have any kind of mechanical device. It's me, and I'm flying. I really like it.
One thing I noticed is that on board a UFO, they have a mode of piloting where you put a helmet on and you can access telepathically some cameras on the outside of the craft, and you can have it the equivalent of the craft disappearing and you just being in a chair flying around without anything around you. That's what it looks like. That's the way they fly those craft most of the time.
Yeah, I've heard that. So I'm excited about it all. For me, it's better than this Earth where every day is somebody dying or getting blown up in some way.
I always tell people that are scared that there are positive aspects to this, and you should try to seek them out, because they're, once they figure they need you, it's very unlikely they're going to let you go. So. It's like being drafted into a high-tech foreign military. They remind me of a high-tech foreign military. And you get to see the Earth from space. You get to do stuff that people are lined up on Earth to do and probably will never get to. And you get to know things that nobody else knows. I mean, there are certain advantages to it.
I'm at the point where bring it on. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's talk about in the cosmos now, because I don't know if anybody's up on the Russian original To the Cosmos by Electric Train, but I suggest you may want to look at that back in Young Person's Pravda. in 1960, July 31 was a Sunday supplement. But let's talk about the cosmos and how we get there. Now you're saying, now let's say that this is your testimony, because this you're sharing your firsthand experience, and we could get an affidavit